Good afternoon and welcome to Four Lads Rangers match reaction. It is Dundee 0, Rangers 3, and what was I would say, a quite professional and accomplished performance at Dens. But we wobble in the second half for 20 minutes, take our foot off the gas a wee bit, but finished on a high with a nice third. Rob, thanks for joining us. We'll take that every day, won't we?
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. It's nice to talk about three good goals, a clean sheet, 3 wins out of three. The Danny Rule roller coaster keeps on rolling.
It absolutely does, and that's what we wanted. We wanted we want to be able to come to Dens Park and put in a professional performance and not be as frantic and as, how do I say it? We looked easily wobbled in the last couple of games against Celtic and Roma, who have got quality, right? And we don't want to go on about that, but we should be going to places in the SPL and be able to boss it and be able to do that. And I thought we did. Ironically, believe it or not, Rob, I thought Dundee probably started quite well. Had quite a lot of the possession. They had that free kick in the first couple of minutes. I think the boy Hamilton took it and kind of leathered it. Jack made a good accomplished save. And then Rangers, for the first time, go up the other end. Raskin tries a run in behind. We get the corner, resulted corner. James Tavernier outswinger right onto the head of Nico Raskin to power in the corner. And for such a wee guy, he's got a tremendous leap. Not only does he have a tremendous leap, but he always seems to find himself spare and free in the boxes and nobody picks him up. And Rangers are duly 1-0 up with a lovely goal.
Yeah, and it's the one thing that I usually really get frustrated at when we get set pieces is the inability that we seem to have to beat that first man with a corner. And it just shows you what happens when Tav does it, gets his delivery right. Nico's always making those wee smart runs, and we've seen him score a few goals like that now, which is great. So it kind of sometimes looks like the tallest man on the pitch at corners, even though he isn't. But like you say, it was great to get that just to settle the nerves down, and actually felt it helped us get a real grip on the game, because we actually played some nice football in that first half. I felt there was some cracking wee interchanges of play, but yeah, it's the one thing that we need to get better at is the amount of pressure that we could put on teams if we had a bit more invention and a bit more quality in those set pieces would make it a hell of a lot easier for us. And it was great to see Nico getting the end of it, because let's face it, he's not exactly been in the best run of form recently either. And hopefully that'll give him a wee bit more confidence to take a bit more ownership of the ball and show a bit more leadership like we all want to see from him.
Yeah, we certainly discuss individuals. I think that's a fair point on Nico. I think even he would suggest that he's maybe been a wee bit off it. But I thought we were at that point looking good for it, because we did obviously settle down. We were moving the ball nicely. And at that point, I'm thinking to myself, right, as we start to move it and we start to look decent, we really need to go and get a second. And there was a lot of kind of intricate balls. They were trying to play with balls round the corner and in between the lines. And no sooner had I kind of thought that to myself, that just a couple of minutes after scoring, I think we scored in 18 and 13, Rangers do go 2-0 up. And again, we have the ball quite a bit. Suter playing it across the back. It works its way into Diamandi. He plays it to Danilo, who takes a good touch, but he more or less loses it in doing that. But we get a break, and Mikey Moore then is on. He's on his right foot. Weirdly, because it would have been, as you're running in, it was almost like it was a left-sided finish into that corner, but he goes opposite. He goes with his good right foot, and he bends it in the corner for his first goal for Rangers. And a lovely finish, Robin. At that point, we are thinking, first time we've taken a 2-goal lead in the first half since Parkhead back in March. So it shows you how long it's been. But lovely finish. And is it unfair to say we deserved that? Because I don't think so. That after going 1-0 up, I thought we looked really accomplished.
Absolutely, and we can talk about possession stats and how teams start games, but ultimately the only thing that dictates whether you deserve something is the scoreboard. And for me, absolutely, I think we did deserve it, Stevie. It was a great finish from Mikey Moore, and again, lovely play. I thought we'll talk about individuals in a minute, but I thought Danilo linked up the play really well. And dropping, and actually there was a couple of really nice touches from Miovski in some of that play, but it was a good finish. I think the Sky commentary were being a little bit critical of the Dundee keeper, by saying, he's only really got one place that he's going to hit it. But I kind of think Mikey Moore looks as if he's going to shape it away to the far corner and then whips it to the left-hand side to kind of almost wrong foot the keeper. So he's a player that's got that quality. We've just not seen it up until now. So it was great for him to get his first goal, and you could see that he was buzzing for it as well. I think that's probably taken a wee bit of weight off his shoulders that he's now got the first, and he was really unlucky, as you'll probably talk about in a wee minute, not to have a second. But he finished it really, really well, and it was nice to see that, because again, it's another player contributing goals that we haven't really had out with the strikers so far this season. So it'd be great to see him continue that vein of form and continue to contribute goals and assists if he can.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Kimberly Neal, who's gifted 10 for lads the Dream Rangers podcast memberships. Thank you so much. I thought I had it shown, but I've obviously not, and I will mess about this for a while. Show, there it is. The QR code there at the top left as you're looking at the screen, or my top left, is it your top left? It's up there anyway, over there, up somewhere. If you want to join the membership, then you can, and that is greatly appreciated. Kimberly, thank you so much. What I would say about Mikey Moore, we'll talk about individuals in a wee bit. I think he's been showing signs of life recently. I thought he was good at Parkhead, Hampden when he came on against Celtic, and I thought he looked bright today. Obviously, shackles are off him a wee bit, and I thought he looked good. So nice to see him get that goal. 25 minutes. Rangers by this point, Rob, completely in control. Dundee then changed their shape. They go 4-1-4-1. Rangers completely control the game. Neil McCann is quite vocal on it on commentary that need to change it, and they do change it. It doesn't really change the flow of the game that much. Butland, nothing really to do. Rangers in complete control, but obviously then we have that moment, don't we? Because we have to have it on every game. It goes 3-0 to Rangers. It comes again from a corner. It's kind of a bit of a skamash. Can we call it that? Can we use that good old phrase? John Souttar has a shot. It's blocked. It comes back. I think it goes Danilo blocked. Souttar shot. And then there's a shot again by Danilo, which Diamandi jumps over. Keeper saves. Moore puts in the rebound. So there's a lot to unpack, Rob. First of all, Mikey Moore is onside when he scores. Diamandi's offside and he's leaping over the ball. So is he interfering with play? Because the goalie steps and he can see the whole thing and ultimately makes the save. Ironically, if he just jumps over it and it goes in, it's probably a clearer cut offside. So there's that. But in that melee, if you want to call it that, John Souttar's shot gets handled and blocked, which seems to get missed conveniently and in amongst everything. It's a subjective offside, so the ref gets called to the screen and he then ends up giving it. And that's really the end of it. Rangers' third goal gets ruled out. But I can't help but feel that the whole handball thing gets completely overlooked and it doesn't even get checked. And if it's not a goal, for me, it's a penalty. I'm okay with the offside being given. If you think it's interfering as an official, I can understand that. I'm understanding of that position, but I don't understand why we're not double, triple checking that penalty claim, because his arm is down. He's clearly played it. It struck him just underneath the shirt area. It's got to be a penalty kick for me.
See, I'll probably this is where I maybe disagree, because I'm probably more upset with the goal being chalked off for Dio, interfering with play, than I am for the potential non-award of that penalty. The only defence, and I've been quite critical of the standards that we have of officiating in Scotland. I'm just going to put it like that. So I think the hand is down at his side. I don't think he's making himself bigger by trying to move it away from his body. So I can understand potentially why it wasn't given. If it hasn't been looked at,
is he playing it though?
Well, I think it's understanding that if it has been looked, or if it hasn't been looked at, then why not? Because ultimately you've still got to see what that free player is doing and whether he's moved his body along with his arm into the field of the ball, because that makes it more deliberate at that point. The offside for Danilo, for Diamande, sorry, I just cannot fathom, because it's actually the Dundee player that the shot's gone through the leg who's more of an obstruction for me, and the keeper has clear line of sight when that ball is struck, and he dives to his right hand side and saves it. If Dio hits the ball, it deflects it and takes it away from the keeper, but it's straight into the path of where he's going and diving and saving. So how the officials can say that Dio has obstructed his view when he's made a good save on the back of it is beyond me. Now, if we haven't looked at that penalty, then it'd be really interesting to understand the reasons and rationale why they didn't, because again, we've seen them given, we've seen them not given. But for me, I'm more still trying to get my head around the decision making of the referee thinking that Dio was obstructing, and the fact that VAR then put that back on him to make the decision, I thought was really interesting as well, rather than it being a clear cut yes or no from their perspective. It was pushed back onto the referee to make that decision. But for me, the Dio thing is the bizarre one, because from the angle you see on TV right behind it, the shot goes through the Dundee player's legs. The keeper's actually got a really good view, because he sees it, he gets down, saves it. So how they can say that Dio is obstructing his vision or view of that is beyond me.
Yeah, the term is interfering with play, isn't it? So if he's interfering with play, how has he interfered with play? Because the goalie gets it, saves it, he's hopped over the ball. But I suppose it's one of them, Rob, like genuinely, if it's up the other end, I'm probably screaming it for it to be offside. But I genuinely think that's a penalty for me. He plays it, he leans into it, it strikes his arm, and he's attempting to block the ball. So he's most likely trying to play with his shoulder, and he hasn't got it down enough. It's a penalty kick for me. We go in 2-0 up at half time, in control, bossing it, without being exceptional. I think that's fair. I think we used the ball well, we kept possession well, and 2-0 up at half time away from home, you take that every day of the week. But he makes 3 subs. Off comes Miovski, Danilo, and Diamande. On come Chermiti, Asgard, and Barron. Thoughts on them? We know how it progressed and how it all turned out, but would you have made those changes? I can understand maybe after a busy week he's maybe trying to freshen it up a wee bit, but I'm not, in all honesty, I'm not sure whether or not I would have done it. I found it a bit not strange because it's his call, but it's just not something I would have done.
I think for me, and I said it in the chat, I would have liked to have waited to go 3 up before we made any changes, because 2-0 is always that dodgy scoreline, that if Dundee score and you've kind of taken the momentum out of the side by making some of those changes, then all of a sudden they're on the front foot and maybe we're under a bit more pressure. And I think the biggest loss of the 3 changes was actually Danilo, because I felt he was linking up midfield and attack really well. He was dropping into some cracking spaces. We were splitting the lines and finding him fairly well. Dio, I don't know if there's maybe an injury, because I think he was pointing to his eye as he was going off at half time. So I don't know if there's something that's happened there. Barron coming in, you can almost say is a bit of a like for like. And then, of course, the Portuguese Peter Crouch, big Chermiti, comes on alongside him, who I'm pretty sure we were all really behind and hoping that he would get on the score sheet. But I just think making 3 subs at half time in a game like that probably does more to disrupt us than it did to help us. And the way the second half kind of played out, we kind of saw that a little bit. Ultimately, the manager's much more qualified to make those decisions than I am sitting here, but we can express an opinion, and for me it would probably be more, I'd have loved to have seen us get another goal and then start to think about making wholesale changes, especially when you think Danilo and Miovski came off. At least keep one of them on the pitch and take one off if you're going to make substitutions.
Yeah, I would agree. I just think taking both Diamande, if he's injured, I understand that completely. Barron coming on fine. I did think both strikers were doing fine. Miovski wasn't great. I thought Danilo, like you, was kind of linking up and getting in those positions that allowed Mikey Moore especially to try and get beyond, which he did for the goal. So I quite liked that. I was, as I said, a bit perplexed when he made those changes, but he is the boss. we do start fine. Asgard has a shot after 50 odd minutes, which the goalie gets down smartly to save after he kind of cuts back in. And then 58 minutes, Chermiti actually does really well, plays a through ball for Kasama, and he chops in, but this time it's kind of more or less straight to the goalie, quite easy for him. And Rangers are fine. And then Dundee make a couple of changes. They bring Danda and Murray on, and it just changes the impetus a wee bit. And Rangers, to me, it looked like Rangers were in control and quite comfortably to be in control, and were never really felt like they were in any danger. But as you say, at 2-0, one goal changes their whole momentum. It doesn't really happen. Danda has a free kick, which Butland saves. Murray has a shot down to his left, which was probably Dundee's brightest opening, which Butland saves. And Hamilton had a shot a couple of minutes into 70, which he saves as well. And then that was it. For want of Dundee coming back into it a wee bit with the changes, it was all a bit comfortable for Rangers. As much as we, at the time, I'm not going to say going through the motions. I think Rangers were just in second gear, Rob, and managing the game at that point, 2-0 up away from home.
It's amazing talking about a Rangers team being in second gear, 2-0 up away from home in an SPL game this year. But you're right. I mean, there was a couple of like half chances that Dundee had, but you know what you're going to get for Simon Money when he comes on the pitch. He's just going to be a pest to opposition defenders, and that's what he did. He brings a level of energy that I think the Dundee team needed at that point. From our own perspective, as you say, Stevie, it was just about keeping it tight, playing the ball around okay. You know, Chermiti's not exactly in the best of form anyway, so going forward, I think he's probably given him another 45 minutes to get more game time and at least start to try and play himself into a little bit of form. But it was a bit of a meh second half, to be honest. Obviously, until near the end, neither team looked particularly like they wanted to push it either way. And it was just going to peter out, which I was happy with 2-0, to be honest, because it means that it's 3 wins in a row. It's 2 clean sheets on the road under Danny Rule in the league, and it's what's that? Well, that would have been 6 goals scored. So it's a massive turnaround from where we were in the league form before he took over.
Yeah, it certainly is. And Rangers still had time though, 77 minutes, terrific save by the goalie, short corner. Ant-Man whips it in really well, and Nico Raskin again, free header right into the corner. And Rangers start to control it. Having had a wee dip where Dundee through the subs looked a bit more lively, never really came to much. Rangers then control it again. Asgard, who I had been thinking wasn't influencing it enough. He wasn't getting on the ball enough, starts to get on the ball. And he gets on the ball, 90 odd minutes, plays it to Kasama on the left. Do you know what's coming? Chop back into the right foot. He loves it. And he just curls one right in the top corner at the left-hand side. Now, a kind of Matondo-esque finish that he had done a few years ago. And it was a really nice goal. Good for Kasama as well, because we talked a wee bit about Raskin needing that. I think Kasama probably needed it as well. He's been not his electric self, but again, played a lot of football, Rob. He's a winger. He's a young lad. That was really nice for him, and I'm really glad he got it. A lovely finish, 3-0. Just the cherry on top, I think, of what was a very comfortable and professional afternoon for Rangers.
Absolutely, and how ironic would it have been if Derek Cornelius hadn't gone down injured and Big Giga had to come on instead of Lyle Cameron to replace Kasama? Otherwise, we wouldn't be talking about this goal. But you're right. I think you saw his face when Cameron was warming up and at the side of the pitch ready to get subbed on. He kind of looked over and was a bit like, "Oh, I'm coming off." So I think for him to get another one like that is really important for his confidence. Like you say, he's not exactly been at the same height or level since the kind of first few games of his Rangers career. He was scoring goals for fun in the Champions League qualifiers and stuff like that, and we just haven't seen the same Gassama, but we've not been playing the same way, and he's maybe had to do a bit of a different role. So the great thing is we've got a manager that knows him, a manager that knows how to get the best out of him, because that's what he did at Sheffield Wednesday. And I think that the reason that he played so well there is the influence of Danny Rule on his career so far. So hopefully, with a bit of confidence, he'll be able to get back to he'll be able to get back to that form, because ultimately he's had a few chances in the last few games, even in the Old Firm game against Celtic. There was a couple where you just want him to get that shot away earlier because you know that he's got that ability. So to see him curl that one into the top corner was great. And like you know, I think Asgard is such a frustrating player. I think it was mentioned in the chat earlier as well. You know, he's a big physical boy, but you know, a gust of wind blows him off the ball sometimes. So we need to see more influence from him in the game, because again, you know, we've seen it in fits and starts. He's got some lovely touches, the ability to kind of play really nice little 1-2s and flick around the corner and stuff to be able to kind of link up play really quickly. And I'm hoping that as Danny Rule gets a little bit more time on the grass with him, we'll start to see those relationships forming in the team. But again, it's another really solid performance, another clean sheet, another 3 goals, and another win under Danny Rule. So it can only be positive at the moment, and that's what we need to build on from the league point of view. European performances, we won't go into it, but the bread and butter is always going to be the league in the second half of the season in the Scottish Cup, because they're the two things that we've still got a realistic chance of potentially clawing back and being successful in.
Yeah, we have to take this as a real positive. If you had offered me 3-0 before the game, I'd absolutely have loved it. As you said, there's another clean sheet, 3 wins on the bounce for Danny Rule, which he had to do in the league and start chopping away at things, which he's doing. Individuals start to get more confidence. We start to get the momentum. Next up, I think we have Falkirk, Livy, then Falkirk, then Kilmarnock away, isn't it?
Yep.
In that order. So these are teams, no disrespect to them, that are lower bottom 6. And we need to go and try and keep that run going. And it's all about that momentum. It's about players getting confidence. It's about Rangers getting results, and just try and build, because then we go into a run which will include Hearts, Celtic and Aberdeen away within the space of 2 or 3 weeks. So, you know, with that comes opportunity as much as it comes a difficult run. So Rangers have got it all in front of them. This afternoon scores in the league. Aberdeen and Motherwell drew 1 each. Hearts and Dundee United drew 1 each. Celtic currently lead Kilmarnock by 2-0. They're at 75 gone. That would bring Rangers within 12 points of Hearts with a game in hand. Potentially, that game in hand, I believe, is Aberdeen at home. I think they play Aberdeen just a couple of days before they play Aberdeen away, just at the start of January. So interesting times for that. Rob, overall, job done for Rangers. Man of the match, please. Did you have anyone that stood out for you?
I have to say, Mikey Moore, I thought he was really good. I think he was really unlucky with the second goal being chopped off, and I think just like you'd mentioned, there seems to be a bit of a freeness about his play at the moment. I thought not only is he being pretty creative and useful with the ball, but actually the work rate he's putting in off it, I think, is the one thing that I've really noticed the difference since he started going under Danny Rule. So for me, it would be Mikey Moore. I thought he was good today.
Yeah, not too much disagreement in there. Dare I say it, a shout for John Souttar. A lot of good blocks, a lot of clearances. Not outstanding, but if you were looking, I would have said Moore, but if you were looking for somebody after that, I thought John Souttar was fine. And overall, it was a professional performance. It was a sort of performance, Rob, where we used to take for granted and should hopefully become more like the Rangers performances we want to see.
Absolutely, mate. Before we wrap up, I do need to give a shout out to my wife. She was watching the game in Lanzarote with her sister today. So as long as we win 3-0 every game, I've said she can stay there and watch all the Rangers games from now to the end of the season. So as long as we continue to get results, she can stay there.
There's another thing to note as well. Today was the first league game that I've missed, and we comfortably win 3-0. Sorry, folks. It might
just stay in the house, Stevie.
Yeah, maybe just stay in the house. But the good news is I won't be at Kilmarnock either, because we're on a we've got a prior family thing for that as well. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you everyone for joining us again. 1,000 watching. We really, really appreciate across the board the support for this channel is unbelievable. So thank you very much to our sponsors, Rhino Express, Clyde View, fire extinguishers and evacuation, Athol Industrial, CSD Air Conditioning, and our partners Black Rooster and Art of Gold. Delighted to say as well, we will be adding a new sponsor to the show, Candied Ice Cream, which you'll know is Amrit's passion. He is going to get on board and sponsor the podcast, as well as doing his own stuff coming up as well. So we're delighted with that. We didn't want to confuse this between Amrit being a podder and Amrit now being a sponsor as well. Two completely different things. And we're really delighted to have Amrit back on. He will be on, I think, with Kenny and I on Monday evening. So we'll be back to discuss that and more. Chris and I and Kenny will be back on Wednesday. And then next Friday, Rob, I think you are joining Andrew, aren't you? And Calvin, I think, maybe, because we're off on our jollies to Blackpool to play a sold-out show for the Gallant Pioneers. We're really excited about that. But you are on Friday night?
I am indeed holding down the fort while you guys are doing the live show in Blackpool, so looking forward to it.
Yep, we've just had a message from your dearest as well. I'll take that. Jennifer, absolutely. You stay out there and I'll stay away, and we might just conjure something up from this season. Yeah, folks, thanks for joining us. If you haven't, please like and subscribe. We really appreciate it on YouTube, heading fast towards 12,000 subs, which we absolutely love. If you would consider becoming a member, you can scan the barcode, which is up there. Look, I've done it right up there. Yep, up there. And that takes you to the membership page where you can become a member for as little as 99p. We do extra shows, but you're mainly just supporting everything that we do. And that is a huge, huge thank you. 700 strong support the show, and we really, really appreciate that. Go and have a good Sunday night. We'll see you all on Monday evening, 7 o'clock. Come and join us then. Rob, thank you for your time, mate. Much appreciated.
Appreciate it, Stevie. Always nice to talk about Rangers when we've won.
Yeah, it certainly is. 3 goals, 3 wins, 3 points and up the road. We'll settle for that. Well done, Rangers. Have a good Sunday night, folks. Take care.
The Four Lads podcast is sponsored by Rhino Express, Clydeview Joinery, Athol Industrial Solutions Limited, and CSD Air Conditioning, in partnership with Black Rooster and Art of Gold. Thank you for listening to or watching the podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show.